let's talk about something important and something that you all are going to experience irrespective of how your lives or how your life is at the moment, namely death, and namely those last hours, and also the funeral. Now, I'm not going to talk about funerals, and I'm certainly not going to expand and elaborate on planning my own funeral because, frankly, I don't really care. When I die, I die. Now, I believe in a life after this life. I believe in a heavenly life. So I'm not the least afraid of dying in that regard. But having said that, there's still a couple of things to touch on when it comes to persuasion that's very, very important to talk about. Because I just read this article about how there's an increasing number of people who die alone and who don't have any relatives, they don't have any family, any friends who want to organize their funeral. They're all alone by themselves. And according to the law in my country, the local township has to sponsor somebody's funeral. Now, here is only the problem with sponsoring such a state funeral, if you will, or a township sponsored funeral. The seats are all empty. Think about that. Your casket, your coffin is there, and there's a priest, you know, saying some words about your life. Obviously, this priest didn't know anything about you, right? And obviously, there's nobody there to listen to. But there's a priest there, there's somebody playing the church organ, and I don't know, maybe there are some other clerk, I don't know what they're called, clerks or church workers, whatever they are. But it's just bizarre and it's just weird. It's like 200 empty seats and nobody is there for you. Your obituary, your posthumous article, whatever you want to call it, your posthumous note, your obituary, it's just empty. So and so passed away. In loving memory. Best regards, nobody. Think about it. It's pretty depressing in one way, and it's also pretty fascinating. Now, in these articles, or excuse me, in the example of this article, the deceased individual in question actually, let's call him Tom. Obviously, that wasn't his name. Well, maybe it actually was his name, but I don't really know because they didn't want to say. But we'll refer to him as Tom. So obviously Tom passed away. He didn't have any relatives or a friend, but or excuse me, he did have some relatives, but they didn't want to know of him because it turns out that plenty of these people who live their lives like this Tom dude either abused drugs, maybe they killed someone, maybe they argued with their closest relatives for a number of years, and they lived these horrible, withdrawn lives. They didn't have anybody. They probably felt very, very lonely. And so here's the point. Yeah, don't worry, I'm going to stop talking about this depressing stuff in a minute. But I have to use these strong examples just to let you know that this is what happens if you don't learn to persuade. If you don't learn persuasion, and if you don't learn to connect with other people, and if you don't nurture and maintain those relationships, and if you actually don't give, if all you do is take, and you end up pushing people away from you, then that's what's going to happen. People are going to withdraw from you. People aren't going to be around you. People don't want to know you. And when you die, you have nobody. In fact, I heard this other story. Some nurse who worked with the terminally ill, with older people who are going to die, who are only like days or hours even away from death. She said that what they regretted most was obviously not seeing their friends more, was not taking better care of their relationships. And all they wanted to do was really have somebody to hold in. They really just wanted a hand to hold in, or to hold. So She would literally even climb into bed and just hold their hands, or I guess touch them in a non sexual way, of course. Don't get any ideas. But in a non sexual way, she would touch them and just give them warmth, I guess. And so just let this be a reminder that could be you. Now, like I said, it doesn't really matter about my personal funeral or not, because when that happens, I'm dead. But by extension, because I know so many people, there will be a whole host of people who will show up to my funeral. And so, in your case, are there going to be a lot of people who will show up for your funeral or not? Think about it. And if not, what can you do in that regard to better your persuasion? These lessons apply to business and sales as well. If you want to learn more about business for sales and business for sales, I'm just sleep deprived. That's why I'm talking weird. If you want to learn more about persuasion for sales and or business, then get subscribed to my email list wherever you're watching and are listening to this, and I'll see you there.